Hey friend, yeah, don't look at my hair. This is the Mrs. Volfie from our half-acre homestead, and today we're going to do a tea break at the quilt frame. Where's my hands? There's my hands. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm going, like I said before, I'm going to cut this part off and bind it. But all I'm doing is I'm quilting in a zigzag all the way across, and then I'm coming back up the other side and going down. I thought this would be a good time for a at the frame tea break. Yes, you can hear my little turkeys peeping. There's my two little birds behind me. This thimble is awesome, and they're really hard to find, and I've probably paid $20 for this after shipping. But it gives me the fingernail that I don't have. What I'm running into, I find now, is I'm having a hard time grabbing the needle to pull it back through because of the arthritis in here. I'm having a hard time gripping. But other than that, I imagine if I get a couple of hours a day into this, I should have it done for the pig roast. What I don't think I told you is that I'm raffling this at the pig roast to help pay for the pig, because we are not going to do one of our pigs. We're not getting our piglets now until next month, May, and we are not going to butcher one of those for the pig roast. I thought about going to Costco. We have a couple of choices. I don't know what Papa has decided yet. We can buy a fully grown live pig from where we buy our piglets, and I really love that pork, because the pork is pasture raised and fed oats that he grinds himself. So that's the next best thing to raising the pig yourself, is to get it from a place you trust. So we haven't decided. Have you decided yet, dear? Well, the pig that we get at Costco, we don't know how it was raised, or what it's been fed, or anything along those lines. But it would be more expensive to buy the pig live. Well, maybe not, eh?
No, probably about the same, but then we have to kill it.
But we know how it was raised, though, too, dear.
Very well.
Very well, pasture raised on home ground oats. So if we do that, Papa's got to make sure the fridge box is working well enough for summertime. And if that's the case, we'll just pick up a whole pig live from Mr. Peabody and bring it here, and we'll dispatch, well, there's the magic we. Howie will dispatch it, clean it, and skin it. He didn't want to skin it, but you know what, folks? I'm the cook. And when it comes to a ground oven, you don't want rubbery skin on there, because it's an oven. It's not, don't think there's, I don't know. Anyway, he's got to bring it home, dispatch it, clean it, skin it, and then let it hang in the refrigerator box until it's time to go into the ground oven. So I think, you know, it may be easier to buy a pig from Costco, a whole pig from Costco. But in all reality, you know, this is our last big do. We want to do it right. Right, dear? So I think we're going to get a Peabody pig. But this quilt, I know I'm rambling, folks, but you did say my videos at my tea breaks were getting too short. This quilt, now that I'm working on it and working with the fabrics, it's really, really sentimental, folks. My Aunt Jane made us a quilt for our wedding, and I've told you the story how I kept it in a plastic bag, a plastic zipper bag, for years. So she asked me how I liked it, was it warm enough, blah blah blah, and I said, I don't know, I never use it. And she said, what? And then she gave me help, and she said, why do you think I made it? Not to be sat up in a cupboard somewhere in a zippered bag, but to be on your bed. It's kind of like a hug. And I never forgot that. So guess what? That quilt you've seen me recover it. I have recovered that quilt. Well, it's on its third cover now. There was the original quilt, then I recovered it, I think last year or the year before. And what's really cool is that was made for as a wedding gift. And this pig roast this year is not our Jump the Broom anniversary, it's our actual wedding anniversary of July 31st, 1993. What's really cool is I'm starting to recognize some of the fabrics in this quilt that were in my original wedding quilt. This is one of them. Can you see that? This fabric here, I'm pretty sure this and this came out of some of my Uncle Reg's shirts. And this fabric that my finger's on, I actually had some of those scraps given to me by my Aunt Jane, and they went into both of my niece's quilts that live out in California. So it's really cool. It's our 25th wedding anniversary, and Aunt Jane made the quilt for our wedding, and she made the quilt top for our 25th wedding anniversary as well. How cool is that? Except this time, Aunt Jane made the top. I get to finish it, and I get to pass it on. I'm going to do a couple more things, but basically, it's a chance for somebody to win a piece of me and Aunt Jane in the same quilt, but it's also the chance to help pay for the pig. I sent out an email recently to all my family saying, look guys, don't bring gifts. Please do not bring gifts. I mean, seriously, you guys, my YouTube family, you send me enough stuff. I'm good. I don't need presents, really. But so I've told people, no, our anniversary is just an excuse to have a party. But what I'm also going to be telling people is that out of all the cousins, the oldest living cousin in my generation of cousins is 81. And my cousin Sean out in PEI is the youngest next to me. And that's saying something, because my mother was one of 13 children, and not all of them survived, but my mother was one of 13 children. Ooh, I almost made a huge mistake here, folks. I was supposed to go. Heck, I'm missing a whole row here because I'm busy yakking. So I'm just going to leave this here because it is on the row. This is what happens when I get yakking, folks. I just think it's really cool that Aunt Jane was there and with a quilt on my wedding day, and now she's going to be here in a quilt on my 25th wedding anniversary. I miss you, Aunt Jane. I love you. She was just a wee little thing. She was like 4'11". But I'll tell you, she was the sharpest tack in the box. She had the temper of a banty rooster if you crossed her. God love my Aunt Jane. I'll never forget when I took Arthur. I had to go to the hospital up in the Bancroft area when I first moved home with Arthur. And I lived at home with my dad, Arthur and I did, until he was 7 months old. So when he was 5 months old, I had to go get an ultrasound in Bancroft. So Dad took me and we went to visit Aunt Jane and Uncle Reg while we were there. And Arthur, of course, was in his little car seat sitter chair. And at this point, I was a new mom, okay, folks? You know, I'm still giving him food out of baby food jars, right? I didn't know that, you know, they kind of outgrow baby food really quick. So he was 5 months old, and he was eating baby food out of the jar at meal times, and at breakfast he'd get one of those cookies. You could either pour hot water and milk on it and mush it up and feed it, or you could give it to them as a cookie. They were like a breakfast cookie. So he would have those because they never broke apart. He just kind of gummed them until they were just, you know, cement all over his face. Anyway, we went to visit Aunt Jane and Uncle Reg. And Aunt Jane pulled out a shortbread cookie and stuffed it in his hand. And I went, oh, I went to take it from her. She went to put it in his hand, and I went to take it from her. And the look she gave me, I said, oh, no, Aunt Jane, he's not on that kind of food yet. You know, he's not on grown-up food yet. I don't know if you can see it, but the look she gave me, basically, the look she gave me said, I am a mother, a grandmother, and a great-grandmother. You, young lady, don't tell me what I can give a baby. That's what that look said. She just looked at me, and I backed off, and she gave him a big shortbread cookie. Oh, my goodness. I gotta tell you, shortbread's one of Arthur's favorite cookies to this day. And it was also the first cookie that Granddad ever taught him to dip in tea. I have a picture of that somewhere. Okay, now folks, see where the seam has come apart here? This happens on the best of quilts, and it happens sometimes your bobbin thread at the back is too loose or something, and it's not difficult. I've quilted up to this part, and I'm going to show you how to do a repair. So I'm just going to take one little stitch here, and this is where invisible stitching comes in really, really handy. I'm going to make it so that you can't even see the repair. Okay, I'm going to come up beside there, and then you can see where the old stitches are. Let's get rid of that so you can actually see what I'm doing here. Now, oops, sliding all over the place. Okay, now I'm going to go down through the blue here, and then I'm going to come up beside, oops, I'm going to come up beside the blue. I'm going to go through, but not all the way. You don't want to go all the way through to the back of the quilt, just through the center, and we come up, and we do it again, and we go through, up through the blue, through the green, and not all the way through. And now I just take a little spot right there, and then I just come back down one more time, never going all the way through, and I'm going to come back up on the green and just reinforce. Go through the blue, up beside the blue. It's not difficult. If you know they're there and you're quilting in that direction, just make sure you stop when you get there and you can do the repair. And then I go right back on down the line, quilting. Now, can you see? Very, very, very little. Eh, dear? Mm-hmm. When you make quilts, sometimes you have seams that give. They're easy to repair on the go. This is the Mrs. Volfie from our half-acre homestead at the quilt frame saying, get used to the quilt meet, doing a tea break at the quilt frame, because until this is done, this is pretty much where they're all going to be. All right? Take care. God bless. I'll talk to you soon.